Can we have the female rap conversation today? Female rap has created a visceral reaction in the media amongst fans, hip hop tastemakers, whether it's from the critique of lyricism, the lack of substance, hypersexuality. Female rappers have had to fight for their voice and legitimacy since the genre's inception. But through all the smoke, the beef, headlines, rage bait, and discourse, where is it really heading? And while a variety of women in the industry exist, only a certain type gets mainstream attention, where women feel the pressure to keep an aesthetic and are at the hands of misogyny. Is female rap too far gone, or are people just hypercritical? Hey guys, it's Cam and welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year 2025, kicking off the year with a bang. Today we are going to be finally having the female rap conversation. I have cycled through the pop boys, the pop girls, the R&B girls, the R&B boys. It's rap's turn, and I've gotten a request to do this multiple times, so I'm here to give the people what they want. The same points are regurgitated over and over. Today, I hope to offer a bit of history, a bit more context, but also to really open the floor for an honest and productive conversation, because I feel like the female rap conversation often falls extremely flat or feels very one-sided in surface. So we're not here to do that today. As you can see, I got my blanket, I'm comfortable, I got something to drink. So I suggest you kick your feet up, get a snack, shoot, even grab a glass of wine because it's going to get juicy. And I would love to say thank you guys. My last video on what happened to Austin Mahone has gone up. So I'm here to let you guys know that that will be a recurring series. Tune in next week. I'm going to have another one coming up. If you have not hit the subscribe button down below, go do that for me real quick. It's free 99 and you also get consistent content. As some of you guys know, I recently traveled to Thailand for the holidays, and we hit the bar scene in Bangkok night after night. And let me tell you, from my personal experience, I woke up feeling refreshed after nights of drinking because of today's sponsor, ZBiotics. The world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. How it works. So when you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct. And it's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. And pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. So have a ZBiotics and click the link in the description to get 15% off your first order at checkout. And plus, ZBiotics offers an 100% money back guarantee if you're not satisfied for any reason. So thank you so much to ZBiotics for sponsoring today's video. And without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So for starters, what's been the impetus for this conversation? So I recently saw a tweet where someone said, female rap is on the verge of extinction. And it was a clip of Young Miami, Ice Spice, Scarlett, and a new kid on the block, Ice Spice Jr., Ice Spice clone.
Had my post for the cameras. I got my bands up.
And these comments consistently come to a head. Get into this. You guys know me. It's not a Cameron video without a history lesson. So we're going to go through our time machine. Let's go through rap's origins and how women have fit into this picture from the very beginning. So rap music originated in the 70s, South Bronx, New York City. And New York's economy was in disarray at this time. The city's wealth began dwindling and shit got real. The black and brown communities in the Bronx developed music to express this change, characterizing the world around them, confronting the anger and rage that comes with redlining, brutality, poverty, and feelings of invisibility, but also detailing the joy, right? Having fun, partying, and escapism in this dark period. And this culminated into what's known as the 5 pillars of hip hop. So you have DJing, MCing, breakdancing, graffiti, and knowledge. So hip hop or rap first being characterized by rhythmic beats, simple rhythms and moderate tempos, fewer syllables per bar, funky bass lines and turntables, and a lot of remixing. And what started as a male-dominated genre From the outside view, front facing, quote, female rappers have always been part of the genre's lineage, says culture critic Taylor Crumpton. Yet, due to power dynamics, those in charge decided to weaponize their gender in efforts to not grant them the titles they deserve. And by them, we're talking about women. So, a timeline from the 70s and 80s period. So, we can start with MC Sha Rock, who is considered the first female rapper, or quote, the mother of the mic, and is the member of the first hip hop crew to appear on TV, Saturday Night Live, called the Funky 4+1. Of course, MC Sha Rock was the plus one. This group was one of the first mainstream introductions to hip hop. And she'd actually go on to inspire styles of rapping made popular by Run DMC, the Echo Chamber.
And she was rhyming with the Echo Chamber? And she said, to all of you, my name is Sha. I stood there in my house and rewinded that tape over for 3 days straight. I couldn't believe how incredible this girl was. Sha Rock is genre changing.
I don't think a lot of people who talk about female rap all day reference MC Sha Rock. Then we had Roxanne Shante emerging from Queens at 14. She built a base of taking no BS. She was a tough talker and would come through with the disses in a heartbeat. And she's actually credited to making one of the first rap diss records called Roxanne's Revenge, which was a response track to a song called Roxanne Roxanne. Battling guys at the age of 15 as the only girl, trying to eliminate her at any merit. And actually at a battle rap competition, a judge gave her a 4.
Someone said, she's been getting 9s and 10s all day. Man, she can't lose. One judge turned it over and it was a 4. And so I lost that day. The judge said, it's not that you didn't win. We couldn't allow it at that time. The judge said hip-hop was just starting to be recognized as a real genre of music. They were not going to respect us if the best in the world was a 15-year-old girl.
Next, MC Lyte, who was the very first female rapper to release her own full-length album called Light as a Rock in 1988. And she gained attention early in the space due to her lyricism, flow, and confidence. And she's also the first female rapper to be nominated for a Grammy in '93. She became a blueprint of what the industry saw as an acceptable way to market a female rapper, right? The female MC that could hang with the boys. Salt and Peppa was made of Cheryl James and Sandra Denton, which created the group in 1985. Ruling the sex-positive revolution in the 80s with songs like Let's Talk About, What a Man, Shoop, quite outspoken, and did not shy away from the sex talk, while speaking also about issues on assault and discrimination, speaking on diseases like HIV and AIDS. They had that balance, right? There was still a message like Sweet Tea or JJ Fad, which their song Supersonic was sampled in Fergalicious by Ferg, Sparky D, MC Peaches, Yvette Money, Miss Melody. And then we also have to talk about Queen Latifah, who got her start in the Natives Tongue crew. And she's an early staple in female rap. She propped up issues that Black women specifically faced in her music, from violence to street harassment to demanding respect on the mic. And she believed that rap had a responsibility to the community first, with songs like Ladies First and UNITY or Unity being her standout singles, really catapulted her as a figurehead, not just in female rap, but in rap in general. She's the first female rapper to win a Grammy in '95, and she's also one of the first rappers to successfully transition into Hollywood, adorning movie screens and intermingling with Hollywood's finest. Some of you guys who are younger, maybe like me, probably was mainly introduced to Queen Latifah through her TV personality and through her acting. And to kind of circle back to the origins, hip-hop wasn't fully taken seriously until a female producer, Sylvia Robinson, founder of Sugar Hill Records, produced and released Rapper's Delight in 1979. So yes, women have been an integral part of the growth of hip-hop, but have received little to no credit for that. And in the 90s, we see an influx of female rappers. There was better recording techniques, but also wider distribution methods, and executives were beginning to catch on. So in the 90s, with artists like Ladybug Mecca, Money Love, Yo-Yo, The Lady of Rage, Bahamadia. Debut album Collage was released in 96 and was the first LP to be co-produced and written entirely by a female rapper, and was a huge standout to me when doing my research for this video. Sister Souljah, Lauryn Hill, who was a rapper, singer extraordinaire, we already know. I mean, her music has been so critically acclaimed. Lisa Left Eye Lopes of TLC. Of course, I wish we got to experience more of her talent. Rest in peace. And then we can get into Da Brat. Built her base with Jermaine Dupri. She joined So So Def label, and the rest was history. She would also be the first female rapper to sell 1 million copies with her 94 album Funkdafied. And we will start seeing a pattern, guys. A lot of women pushed into the industry are able to be successful by tie of a male artist, hip-hop artist, rapper in the industry. Some game changers like Foxy Brown, who entered the rap scene at the young age of 15 and signed to Def Jam in 1996, unapologetically living in her sexuality while also demanding respect in her rhymes, some considering her the illest to ever do it. And this also brings up our next icon in female rap, and had a very close link to Foxy as childhood friends, Lil' Kim. So Lil' Kim herself, quote, twisted the paradigm that said a 90s female rapper had to come with a masculine swagger. And she openly embraced her sexual but feminine aesthetic that translated from her lyrics to her image. And even with her debut album Hardcore in 96, which at the time was the highest debuting female rap album of all time, she would also be a rapper to break that mold fashion-wise, dipping her toes into high fashion, a trendsetter, creating iconic looks for the carpet, colorful wigs, intermingling heavily with mainstream pop culture. And she is the source blueprint, in my opinion, based off of like the sexualized image that we see in rap right now. If you want to go back to that source, we see that inspo really linking with Lil' Kim. And we had Missy Elliott, who artistically was futuristic and revolutionary. It wasn't just about the music, the unique sonic sound, but the visuals. Not being afraid to get a little bit weird, avant-garde, and not being so focused on her appearance and pushing sounds, like different sounds, reversing shit, putting on a trash bag. Like, she was just doing and making it cool. And she'd cement her legacy with songs like Get Your Freak On, Get Your Freak On, and Work It, and the list goes on. And Missy's image was also kind of in contrast to the shifting imagery of female rap, right? We started to see more of like this sexualized image that was being pushed slightly, and Missy Elliott didn't really lean into any of those tactics, but was just as successful, if not more successful. And she's actually the first female rapper to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We can also talk about artists like Rod Digga, Trina, Gangsta Boo on that 90s, early 2000s cusp. Now we're going to get into the 2000s, and you guys will see like the list starts getting slightly thinner, not to say that it was that long to begin with. We have Eve. Her breakthrough album Scorpion in 2000 made her a household name. She was the third female hip-hop artist to have her album peak at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. A rapper with pop appeal, she would do crossover songs and several collaborations with artists like Gwen Stefani or Maroon 5. And she's also another rapper who transitioned from rapping into acting. Remy Ma. Lean Back, for example, topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks with hit songs like Conceited. And she really stamped her name. As we know, she went to prison for some time. But she would also go on to like prop herself up in the spotlight as far as going on Love and Hip Hop, you know, diss records, all of that. We have artists like Kia, M.I.A. I think that's how you say it. Fly like paper, gotta highlight planes. If you catch me in the border, I got pieces in my name. Yep. Rhapsody, who launched her solo career in 2008, really offering like different perspectives in her music, intricate rhyme schemes, metaphors, and wordplay. And she's actually been cited by some as one of the best living lyricists in hip hop, period. And I think she's someone who genuinely gets overlooked when people consistently say, oh, well, female rap is just this. Like, there are people who are pushing their pen and are very intelligent and good at what they do and capturing it in a song. And she's just one of those people. Her freestyles, though,
a renaissance, resemble Harlem times, just like Langston Hughes. All I see is crystal stairs. They looking through the Cartiers.
Nicki Minaj. Okay, so we're going to talk about Nicki Minaj in like 2 segments, okay? We're going to talk about her in the 2000s era, like late 2000s era, and then we will shift. So Nicki Minaj, her star power was brewing in the 2000s, right? She was on the streets hustling, working. At this time, there was a slight dip in decline in female artists being pushed. Coming from the streets of New York, she was hungry, getting her start in the rap group Hood Stars. She released 3 mixtapes between 2007 to 2009 and also became known for her flow, her lyricism, wit, versatility, and alter egos. She was then discovered by Lil Wayne and signed to Young Money Entertainment in 2009, added a level of legitimacy and gave her a push in the public eye. And she was really seen as a next coming, especially when there was a dead period to follow the early 2000s, heavily being compared to the likes of Lil Kim, right? History repeats itself. Let's remember that. And Nicki Minaj said it herself, quote, "There wasn't a big female rap presence right before I got in. So my role was really reintroducing the female rapper to pop culture." So in the 2010s, hip hop at this time experienced a boom like never before. Virality, internet connecting folks. Hip hop became a part of popular culture in a way that kids and people who were never listening to rap were listening to it, were buying the CDs, tuning in. And female rap, it was like a petri dish. Like, it just started to kind of like cook. So we have Nicki Minaj to really kick this off, or is crowned by many as the queen of rap. Her debut album, Pink Friday, dropped at the top of the decade in 2010, and it topped the Billboard Top 200 Albums chart. She would also go on to shatter and redefine the rap pop superstar, leaning into dance pop tracks that were controversial to diehard and day one fans at the time, with songs like Super Bass, Starships, Night is Still Young. It would create a revolution of its own. She'd go on to release The Pink Print in 2014, Queen in 2018, and Pink Friday 2, 2024, and she is the best-selling female rapper of all time with over 100 million records sold. She has 3 diamond certified songs by the RIAA, most #1 albums by a female rapper, first female rapper with over 1 billion views on YouTube, highest grossing rap tour by a woman, most top 10 singles by a female rapper, and in 2024 became the first female rapper with multiple diamond certified solo songs. Say what you want about her, the proof is in the pudding. Numerically, statistically speaking, she's top. Like, that just is what it is. Other artists in the 2010s, Cupcake, sexual, comical persona in her music, Iggy Azalea.
Thick, who is this? Yeah, I'm his new bitch.
John in Tennessee, go ahead. What you want to say?
That shit is trash, dog. Get the fuck off the airwaves.
Azalea Banks, who infused hip hop, dance pop. She shook the airways with her creativity and eclecticness, but also with the good comes a lot of negativity. She beefs with everybody in the industry. She wakes up in the morning and she says, "Who do I not like today?" And that has unfortunately overshadowed her music. We have Young M.A. I would say for a while it was kind of those folks. We'll talk about, Dreezy was in there, Dej Loaf was in there. We had a few people, we'll go on to that. But Cardi B really shook everything up. And I will say that she marks a new phase. The next stepping stone into really where things began to boom. Stripper turned influencer, turned reality star, turned multi-platinum selling rapper. It flipped the idea of who could be a female rapper on its head. Some of those standards shifting and creating a new way for female rappers, for the better, for worse. Comment down below, what do you think? But it encouraged other women to say, so if she could do it, why couldn't I? With 3 mixtapes and a dream, she finally struck gold with Bodak Yellow. She landed 2 hits at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. She was the first female rapper to top the Hot 100 with a solo song in the 21st century. Her 2018 album Invasion of Privacy kicked down doors, debuting #1 on Billboard 200. Largest selling female rap album streaming week of all time. Only solo female artist to win the Grammy Award for Best Rap Album. The album, in my opinion, was pretty well crafted with versatility, vulnerability, and personality. And she quickly became a force in the industry with a pop appeal. surprisingly to people. She would intermingle with pop stars, fashion industry, branding, and become this superpower. She's the highest certified female rapper in the US. With one album, guys. One album in a pretty short stint. So, to some people's dismay, a few rap beats later, and people widely debating her talent and worthiness, you cannot take that success away. I think she was like a dog whistle for labels at this point. Because let's be very honest. Trying to put comparison aside, she was really the first female next to Nicki. Iggy Azalea was pulling up some numbers, but who was blowing up charts at this time. And I think that signaled to labels, wait, there's like real money here. And no offense, Cardi, but you don't even have to be like this crazy like rap goddess. You don't even need to have like that crazy skill set. And so I think that's kind of what she represented. Megan Thee Stallion, who was a Houston rapper, rose to fame in 2019, striking virality with her freestyles, and also known for her alter ego, Tina Snow, clever bars, thick accent, very well-crafted image, and her saying hot girl summer, she's taken the world by storm. And not only do people a lot of the times kind of debate whether she's next in line, because she's not only can rap her ass off, but she has that commercial appeal, marketable and paid. And I agree. I do think that she's that next level of like rap, female rap or rap dynasty. But she's unfortunately had a rough time navigating the industry and has also been at the hands of misogyny, which we will talk about that. Tierra Whack, with a battle rap background, poetry roots, clear attention to visual artistry. She reminds me of Missy in that way. Where that storytelling is up there, the vocal personality and commitment to character is on 10. Lotto, who won the rap game in 2016 but turned down the contract. One of the last of a dying breed. She was rapping since she was 8, 9, 10, passing out CDs, performing at schools, performing at fairs. Again, I will say this, I don't care what anyone has to say, I respect her hustle. I think she deserves the success. She's worked immensely hard and she's talented. Turn on a freestyle right now. The girl can rap her ass off.
I the hell on pescatarian in a lounge hot truck, but that's besides the fact. Stop playing with my pen, I've been there since 16. The bitch mean
Doja Cat, who falls in like this space of rapper, pop star. Like she's a little bit of everything, but she's one of the most multifaceted artists of our generation. She gained momentum with her meme song, Moo, but captured the general public's attention with her album Hot Pink in 2019 and completely went to another planet, no pun intended, with her 2021 album Planet Her. She's been praised for her theatrical but also intricate rap ability, bringing her music to life while also being experimental, with a dominating stage presence, which we don't always really see with rap artists in general. Flo Milli, major buzz with her song Beef Flow remix, and then she also had a boost with the Never Lose Me song, Unpopular Opinion, Babyface Ray's version will always be the superior version, love you Flo. But she seems to be a bit of a hit or miss for people, but I've always kind of liked her bubbly, useful voice on the track. There's this like energetic, bouncy, vibrant vibe. Some people like it, some people can't get into it, but she has a wit about her that I think is very fun. Another thing that you guys have brought up very commonly, she has been the center of conversations about colorism in female rap. Even though she ain't asked for it, a lot of people feel that she should be further than she is, but she is not because of her skin tone, which I think is a very valid conversation to have. However, I understand a bit of her frustration with people projecting that conversation onto her situation. Anytime I saw a tweet about Flo Milli, it wasn't about promoting her music, but it was about how colorism was negatively impacting her. So I think that conversation could have been a bit more balanced to really like push her.
How do you feel when people say that you're underrated because you're dark skinned?
I made it so far, and like, you know, coming from where I come from, like that where I am now is an accomplishment. So it was kind of like triggering a little bit to kind of get on the internet and be, you know, ridiculed for that.
We got Saweetie. Yeah, she's like in this period, she's a rapper. She's more of an influencer now, but she's lost a lot of momentum from like her Icy Girl days. She knew how to flip the fuck out of a sample. She deserves the praise for her branding. I think she's very likable, but the music, she still does not have a debut album, and she technically debuted or has been in the industry since 2017. City Girls, Bia, No Name, Princess Nokia, Little Sims, Chica, the airplane meme, Cash Doll, shout out Detroit, Asian Doll, Rico Nasty, just to name a couple. And then in the new age, we're into the 2020s, the internet age where a viral hit can carry a career. And actually, I wouldn't even say a career, but it can carry like a good 1 year run. So now everybody and a mama can kind of get that song, but the sustainability is a bit harder to predict now. More direct to consumer. So a lot of women are really being able to like pick with their vote what they want to listen to. Less having to go through the traditional route of gatekeepers. More women rapping led to more women rapping, and it's been declared a golden age ever since. Artists like Glorilla, who's had this insane run this year, Doechii, who's also has been having an insane run and been appreciated not just in like the female rap community but in hip-hop spaces in general, with her new mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal for that stylistic versatility, boom bap, EDM, and soul elements, and really knows how to put a body of work together, which I think has been missing in female rap. Then we have some artists like Coyle Ray, Dream Doll, Bree Runway, Amaretta, Ruby Rose, Maya the Don, Mona Leo, Anicia, Mellow Bucks, Caribou, Lakia, Baby Tate, Scarlett, Lady London, Lola Brooks, Sexy Red. Actually, let me rewind. So yeah, that was like a long list. I probably missed a couple. Chinese Kitty. There's a lot, guys. Don't ask me. Cuban Doll. I don't know. If somebody like Sexy Red, who has received a surprising amount of attention, sporting like this Y2K sound. She's been the face of criticism heavily by the STD lip glosses, straightforward, like borderline, just extremely crass lyrics. I'm going to be stoned for this. Don't get the hype with her. And I hate to be that person because like F respectability politics, but I just don't like personally what she stands for. So that's just me, not my cup of tea. And then Ice Spice.
Think you the shit, bitch? You not even the fuck.
We've talked about her on my channel, so I'm not going to beat it with a dead horse. But I will never fully understand how she got that big. She's known for her drill style. She rose to fame in a very short period of time. I think around 2022 with Munch. Nicki, oddly enough, finally co-signing someone as the princess of rap, and that being Ice Spice, who is giving like green eggs and ham rap rhyme schemes.
Why would you lie? Nigga, you fried. You just be high. But you was my heart. Now we apart. I'm in the dark. You love when I start.
Regardless of what you want to say. First year in her career with the Met Gala, to a track on the Barbie movie, to Nicki features, to a Taylor Swift feature. It's definitely going to go down in the books as a wonder. Like, you can't take it away from her. That was our timeline. Now we're going to get into some of the factors in why I think female rap has been negatively impacted. But this is really where you need to kick your feet up, get comfortable. Misogyny in rap music and how it systemically impacted female rappers. MC Lyte has been candid on the gender bias that she faced early on in her career. Quote, "There have been many times where promoters didn't want to pay me what I deserved in a lineup. They didn't want to put me where my songs warranted me going." And from its birth, the genre was dominated by men, front-facing at least. Being the first ladies, for example, at a label or a crew was considered a goal or a privilege. And women wore it as a badge of honor because that's how you gain street cred, legitimacy, and how people could semi-take you seriously. And I think that attitude was etched onto rappers of the time and those coming after, which is why I also think you see a unique competitiveness between female rappers that might seem a bit more petty than what is portrayed or perceived with male rappers. I also think this is what made female rap kind of dry and rigid and dry up so fast, because men at large were the gatekeepers, molding these rappers into their image versus the girls getting full autonomy of their careers. And those standards tend to rub off on audiences. And there was this juggling of femininity but also being one of the boys. And 90s rapper Yo-Yo was one of the first women in rap to advocate for the feminist movement, and she's repeated throughout the years that she didn't want to be seen as one of the boys. Okay, like she's like, I'm a lady. And that in itself was powerful because it rejected this level of assimilation. It was made very clear early on that there could only be so many. So, right, there was like usually one first lady of a rap crew. What Sha Rock was to the funky 4+1. Her being the +1 because she's the only girl. Why did she have to be singled out? I don't know. what Remy is to Fat Joe. Even the Rough Riders. Nicki Minaj is to Lil Wayne and Young Money. Lil Kim to Biggie. Foxy to Jay-Z. Trina to Trick Daddy. A lot of these prominent female rappers had some sort of male cosign. And I noticed that, which still makes it a bit male-centered, whether they wanted it to be or not. And in this new era of social media, it's really the first era generally that I think has been less tethered to men being the playmakers. Of course, you have to play the industry games, right? And Messiah Cabona Clark, who's an African culture and feminist studies professor at Howard University, said women were largely invisible in hip hop during the 80s and early 90s. Queen Latifah would actually go on to call those the dark ages because there just weren't enough female voices in the space. With Yo-Yo saying, quote, "You have to constantly stay hot or they move on to someone else." Debrat added on, saying that you're expected to look a certain way and you always want to be fuckable. This is the message that female rappers at the time were being sold. And Lotto has also spoken openly on how an unnamed rapper
deal with these men, you know what I'm saying? They don't know how to keep it business. It's a feature on my album that it was difficult to clear, and they like trying to drop their nuts on me because I won't respond to a DM.
In 2017, actually, rapper Rick Ross, stated that he wouldn't sign a woman to his label because, quote, "I always thought I would end up being a female rapper." So misogyny strikes again. Women's merits usually being tied to a man, and if it's not, it not being seen as legitimate. So what do a lot of these female rappers do? They fall in line, they play with the system, and boom, it creates drama, it creates buzz, and an extra layer of competitiveness to be the only one. Megan Thee Stallion, in the face of misogyny, who was disrespected by peers, men and women in the industry for being a victim. Many male rappers shouted to free her assaulter. Drake, Meek Mill, the rest of y'all dusty asses, while Nicki Minaj even joined in on the piling, which was very disgusting to me.
I dare you dare you to say one more thing about my fucking family, ho. Fragment foot, bullet fragment, bullet fragment.
What happened to Megan was a travesty. To taunt a victim of abuse, especially when it was proven in the court of law. And look, I understand in rap they say nothing's off limits when it comes to battle rap, yada yada yada. Like, you can go off, you can say what you want to say. But what I will say this is, when a male rapper is shot, when a male rapper, when there's violence, the community stops and actually talks about it and talks about gun violence is so wrong. Meg gets shot, and now it's all about the semantics. It's all about the extra fluff instead of being a victim. The culture, hip hop culture, has had a particularly off and honestly bad way of handling serious issues, specifically when it comes to women in the space. But also with that misogyny that female rappers experience, right, came a lot of abuse and pressure. Lil Kim has been heavily criticized for all of the surgery, the difference, the before and afters. She looks like a completely different person. She said, quote, "All my life, men have told me I wasn't pretty enough. Even the men I was dating. Guys always cheated on me with girls who were European looking. You know, the long hair type. Really beautiful women. And that left me thinking, how can I compete with that? Being a regular black girl wasn't good enough." Meanwhile, everybody talks about these facial surgeries. One of the impetus for why she started doing it was to correct injuries that happened due to DV. Jermaine Dupri actually recalled a story where Biggie, her boyfriend at the time, pulled a on her.
And Lil Kim, at this particular point in time, this was the time when I'm thinking he Kim's sister, but she didn't really want to come because she was upset. Right. And he was like, "Yo, we got JD and Usher here. You can't be acting like in the hallway." Followed him out in the hallway, and Big and they started having an argument. It got so heated that he asked his man C Gutter. He said, "Give me the gun," and he was gonna shoot her.
As Dupree recalls the story, the interviewers are chuckling as if something is awkward or funny.
Just let her know he was a killer.
Oh my God. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, I was about to say he was a serious CEO. Like, you gonna get this verse?
No, you were worthy of that story.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This, my friends, is the problem with hip hop. You know, people will laugh about women's abuse, but male rappers will talk about all day and all night. Oh my gosh, the girls are so sexualized. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Come on, we can't even talk about anything serious for real without y'all being laughing or having to be drunk or high to talk about it. And as her surgery started off with correcting injuries from this abuse, it did kind of spiral into really changing herself. Nicki Minaj had body insecurity a little bit. She felt a pressure to look a certain way. Gorgeous girl, always has been. And she recalled in an interview that being around Wayne and them,
this is what you're supposed to look like in the rap culture, and I don't look like that. I think Wayne, and I think they said stuff sometimes jokingly.
Jokingly.
But to a young girl or up and coming rapper or anything like that, when it's from someone like Lil Wayne, it matters.
And she felt like she needed to change. And I think that spirals into the looks and aesthetic conversation that a lot of people have about female rappers. Many female rappers have expressed a similar pressure that Minaj has felt, that Lil Kim has felt. And I don't know if it's now a mixture of like Instagram face, lip fillers, and BBLs becoming a beauty standard, at least on like the social media, the internet front. But many female rappers who come on the scene do look the same, or they end up looking the same once the machine has gotten a hold of them. For example, that one girl with that little song, I don't even know what it's called, but I think her name is C China or something like that. People were calling her UK Megan, a Megan dude. Lotto and Ice were going at it over like their style. Ooh, she's stealing my look. Which apparently Ice Spice was stealing her look from. Okay, anyways. When they look kind of similar, low-key. Lotto has openly expressed why she got her BBL. Due to pressure from fans in the industry, people saying that her body didn't look right. She wanted to be accepted by the public in the industry. And she's cautioned women.
Find peace within your natural state.
Yeah, I definitely.
Because you're gonna find a flaw, and another flaw, and another flaw, and another flaw. Surgery, any of that stuff is not a permanent fit.
And then on the flip side, you have someone like Lakia who has been asked, right, when is she gonna do her body? Because she has these long legs, she's tall, she's skinnier naturally, and people feel like she's too thin or too small to be a female rapper. Coi Leray is in a similar boat. Either way, we see they change, it's a problem. They don't change, it's a problem. And I think female rappers have been positioned to be this symbol. There's a very like pinnacle idea that people think of in their brain, and I think it influences these ladies, and labels also benefit from that imagery as well. Dream Doll has expressed actually wanting her natural body back, saying that the look is now out of fashion. Bodies are not trendy. Like, please don't go getting surgeries because that's what's in, because it's very hard to reverse and change it. Kind of like how I said in the R&B video, but even more here, that the aesthetic is more important than anything at this point. More important than the artist development, more important than opening a book and reading and expanding your vocabulary. Labels aren't pushing artist development, they're pushing body development. Let's be very for real. And Roxanne Shante recalled a time where she said video vixens were getting more play and attention than female rappers themselves, which further intertwined the looks component to the skill in the rapping to the point where it started to become slightly erased. Like, we at least just need you to be something pretty to look at, and the raps we'll figure out. We'll get you a ghostwriter, maybe not. We'll just get you a trendy producer. Just look good. So the rappers had to conflate into the video vixen. The two started to merge to really see a level of success. Because remember, in the early 2000s, video vixens were starting to gain their own names and getting attention just off of being videos. So what did some female rappers have to do? Have a little bit of both. So that brings us into female rap and the sexuality conversation. But black women have inherently been seen as hyper-sexual. Dating back to slavery, it was said that black women's bodies were, quote, sites of wild, unrestrained sexuality, being placed on auction blocks, being sold higher based upon their childbearing ability, placed in museums. What are the ethics and logics of women partaking in this industry, right? A system that inherently exploits their bodies for profit. And a lot of women who are like really exemplifying sexuality in their music will tell you, like, this is liberation for me. It's because I want to do it. I'm empowering myself. And you could argue that there is a fine line between commodity/exploitation and agency and autonomy. And I think some of these ladies live in that autonomy space where they really are convicted in what they're doing. While some, it's exploitative. You can tell that it's kind of just going that way because that's what's hot. The history also carries to an extent. For many black folks or a minority with history, we want to be individuals too. We want to be judged by our own merit. We don't want to have to be completely casted to just our history or be judged by stereotypes. But our histories tether us to them. to some capacity. What we do automatically is being politicized, and it's not fair. Okay, let's be clear, that's not right. And although it's not fair to us, we cannot erase the implications and its contextualization to history, where the male label executives may have pushed this not for female liberation but sales. When the people marketing you don't have like that similar intention, is it really genuine? Because I can't say that a lot of these guys who are marketing these women are doing it with the purest of intention, especially when mainstream rap imagery has become all about. So the reason why I leave this part open-ended is because I'm not here to judge like expression. I don't think it should be demonized. T Noir also made an observation in a video she did and pointed out how a lot of these women will rap about liberation and their sexuality and their music, but in real life, when it comes to interviews, they spend majority of their time trying to prove that they're not actually a hoe or their body count is low. That leads me to believe that there is some sort of dissonance going on with the message they're portraying versus how they want to be seen in their personal life. Because if they really were about it, would it matter either way? What I also will say is I would challenge some of these like female rappers to think about the liberation, like how much of that is really benefiting that cause when a good chunk of the music or mainstream being pushed is that. Is it really helping, or is it working to kind of fit the male gaze or to suppress? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys, comment down below. But we had artists in the 90s that were talking about SEX. I don't want to get demonetized. Salt and Pepper with Let's Talk About, telling people, hey, turn your radio off if it bothers you. But to be honest, it was low-key, high-key, very educational. And then it became to transform into like different iterations, right? We talked about Lil' Kim, who was considered the, quote, raunchiest woman they've ever heard on the mic. She was heavily criticized for her sexual and explicit imagery. Kim said it herself. I've always been super sexy and feminine. My record company didn't understand a female rapper being sexy. They thought I needed to look like MC Lyte, wear sweatsuits, and all of that. So isn't that crazy how it did like a complete 180 on its head? Because at that time, there was more of a strict blueprint for a rapper. As the genre was so young, it was made of like an image of men. How could X translate to the hip-hop genre?
Of children that are being wiped out from an AIDS epidemic. Why can't you sing music?
Lyrics like are in Lil' Kim's hardcore album, in my opinion, it would be against the law to air them.
Yeah, people who can tell you her songs and don't know their multiplication tables. Our priorities are in the wrong place.
And I bet she makes people seem like that's all we're about. You know, that's all women about, showing our body or whatever. The poster is vulgar, and I think it misrepresents black women.
The new wave of female rap, right? The Foxy Browns. The sex appeal was made an emphasis in packaging a female artist. Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown were stirring conversations even back in the day. A Source magazine sporting the two read, sex and hip hop, harlots or heroines. Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy headline. But they kind of made it easier to be more unapologetically that way in the mainstream. Artists like Trina, Kia, Cupcake, Nicki Minaj with Anaconda, which that shook the world by storm. Critics calling it degrading, too raunchy, a violation. But it's crazy to me how this reaction does not ensue the same way when guys talk about the craziest explicit things. And with women to come after, it almost leaned a little bit too much into that though, because the skills weren't being developed at all. Ice Spice has been heavily criticized for only being good for, in her performances, bending over and twerking while offering no other value. It's as if it's like her default setting. I think you want to live in a balance between the two, right? Because what is a rapper here to do? Rap. Yes, entertain. But if you take the rap away, just go be an influencer. Megan Thee Stallion is another person who has been heavily judged about how she raps about sex, but also how she navigates it in her personal life, oddly enough. You know, having her fun with guys. When a woman is doing what y'all will do to other women, but to y'all don't like it. Especially when your male counterparts in the genre seem to have free of shame attitude when talking about explicit content. I do think some people feel slighted because, like, back in the 90s, there was still a bit of a balance, right? Where different women were getting commercial push, but also getting, like, critically recognized. Now, I will say it's kind of as if you have to sell that to get any time of day. Mind you, some of these girls can actually rap, but it's so overshadowed by the very explicit imagery or the very explicit content, to where it's just not enough of a balance or happy medium. And Cardi said it straight up.
Second of all, there's a lot of female rappers that be rapping their ass off and don't be talking about their... Y'all don't be supporting them and they be mad dope. These bloggers don't support them. They don't give them the recognition. So don't blame that shit on us when y'all not the one that's supporting them.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep rapping about XYZ because that's what you guys are listening to. And let's be real, when the consumers are responding to that and people are trying to make money and make a living, a lot of these new rappers don't actually have a genuine passion for rap. They're influencers turned rappers who are doing it for a bag so they could get paid $50,000 for a club appearance every Saturday. The passion isn't fully there. So I'm kind of past the phase of expecting like people to really push their craft, which is sad. But there's people out there, there's women out there that we talked about earlier that actually offer like substance, and if that's what you're looking for, you can find it. So when WAP released on August 7, 2020, it was one of the most sexually explicit songs to top the Billboard Hot 100 in history. People were triggered. Fox News was doing segments. Conservatives were seething. Quote,
Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion are what happens when children are raised without God and without a strong father figure.
And rappers like Snoop Dogg, of all people, made public comments basically saying, quote, slow down, have some imagination, let's have some privacy and intimacy, where he wants to find out as opposed to you telling him. Like, I know Snoop Dogg isn't talking. Again, that's another problem, the double standard. So y'all can talk about women any kind of way you want, but it's an issue when a woman talks about herself. Like, let me get that clear. So this goes into the trend of men in hip hop having a lot to say. Jermaine Dupri saying, quote,
all rapping about the same thing, and I don't feel like that. I don't think they're showing us who's the best rapper. It's like strippers rapping.
Meanwhile, strippers and strip culture has been a major part of hip hop imagery and topic for a very long time. So now it's a problem when the strippers become rappers. But weren't you guys always rapping about throwing ones in Magic City? Like, but for male rappers to like clean their hands and act like they have not partaken in like the shift of sexuality in their own music is just asinine to me. And we can't have a real conversation if people don't own up to that. But let's be real. Some women have been, in rap, have been quite critical as well of this shit. Def Jam's first signed female, Nikki D, deemed this era of female rap as the prostitution era after seeing Ice Spice in a Betty Boop costume. Even rapper Kia, yes, the My Neck, My Back rapper, yes, her, was offended by being compared to artists like Sexy Red and Suki Hana. Like, girl, you wore that blueprint. Like, you can't be mad that okay. We can also talk about female rap and the plague of lyricism that's often a critique, but I would like to argue that there is a gross double standard in this department. Critics and fans say that women talk about their kitties too much, that their music is unnecessarily ridden with that. Says, I do agree, some female rappers, like for instance, I listened to Megan's album on my Patreon. There were some moments where she was getting very vulnerable and I loved where it was going, but she had a bar in there that was just overtly, like, it just did not to me fit in the context of the song. So I agree that it can feel quite redundant. And although outsiders of the genre do judge both sides of the coin, men and women, right? Within the culture though, it seems like people equate talking about bad, if not worse, than rapping about gangs, murder, and drugs, which I would argue is more harmful and has grave consequences. So definitely I agree though that some of them are some of y'all are better than this. Some of y'all are better than the same like rhyme scheme, the same bars about your kitty. Like, you're better than that. I've also noticed when it comes to female rappers, they do not get a semblance of the recognition. I've always wondered, why are women very commonly left out of the overall top rappers conversation? If you go to like the best hip hop or the best rapper poll, 9 times out of 10 there's only one woman who tends to be Nicki, but the women are, or they're completely absent from the conversation, when I think that there are some that could be considered or genuinely talked about in that light. Or I noticed music journalists, some seem to have a very surface understanding often only listening to or seriously ranking male projects, while steady having a lot of blanket statements to say about female rap or base their opinions off of a clip. They'll also ask separate questions like, who's your top rapper? And then they'll ask, who's your top female rapper? Like, it just has to be separated. It seems like at the same token, guys who get on the mic and mumble, they can be spoken about on the greatest of all time list, right? And I cannot hear half of your bars. I don't know what you're saying. So with female rappers, it does seem to be a consistent issue. They consistently have to defend their talent and shove that they write down our throat every 5 seconds, that they're this, that they're that. Like, it's just too much to freaking prove. This is actually coming to a head. This is like our closing out. The hyper competitiveness. And let's be very real here. Competitiveness has turned grave more often in male rap spaces. So I'm not saying this to minimize that or like to make this seem worse. Clicks, fans, stands have ruined the experience of female rap very specifically. When you have a lot of people who have little knowledge about a genre that's so rich in culture and history, often these ladies' relationships in music get completely reduced down to their drama or their beef, where we cannot actually send a level of respect to people for their talent, but rather who their fave likes or doesn't like. I think rappers also can be less squeaky clean because the drama kind of sells records. So unlike how pop artists kind of have to keep this pristine polished record or image, we've seen female rappers actually go at it on the timeline. And I honestly think it's been encouraged. That cattiness, that pettiness, and the media and blogs play into it wholeheartedly. Why is can we talk about this real quick? Why is every female rapper asked, who are your top 5 female rappers? Specifically. Can we retire the question? Because every time it's asked, what do medias and blogs do? Take a headline, this girl didn't say Nicki Minaj was her number 1, but 3 years ago she said she was her number 1. We are starting to pocket watch. And I don't even know, not even pocket watch, inspiration watch. Because it's that competitive. Let's free the rap girls from the shackles of that question. To me, I feel like also the same way how like women don't have to get along. I just feel like journalists specifically make these women have like this forced acknowledgement, and it feels inauthentic. Why does every interview I have to do got to be about tie back to how
female rap and the deepness of it?
Why? I'm sorry, it's kind of irritating to me. Can you ask about the new music? Can you ask about the new album? Like, what are they doing that's different? Why do we always have to consistently revisit the past? And when you consistently keep asking like this forced acknowledgement in interviews, yes, it can create a level of flattery, but that can also turn into animosity and constant comparison. It can turn sour very fast. Having to pay respect constantly, almost undercutting yourself half the time because you don't want to piss off a certain fan base. It's almost like you're indebted to the gods of female rappers past.
How many female rappers is thriving right now versus it being Nicki and everybody else? Now we all.
And I think it's important to have respect for the culture and the history, but to always kind of have to like praise the ground somebody walks on, it's kind of exhausting. Exhibit A. Like, why are you policing what somebody's impact? Like, if somebody says this was my favorite, then let it be. It's too much about the semantics for me when it comes to like female rappers and their beef. Like, it's just stupid shit. And I think labels also itch to find that next big thing. Female rap, it's like this pecking order. Again, because for so long, there was only allowed to be so many. So when we see like the Cardi and Nicki Minaj feud spawn into a war of sorts, it created a level of allegiance. Like certain artists, if you're friends with this one, then you're against this one. It's like a high school cafeteria. Is it a coincidence that Cardi was the first woman since Nicki to really blow the charts up and have mainstream success? Fans fueled that beef. I really don't think they really had real beef until fans were starting to like put bugs in their ears. And many female rap beefs are seemingly linked back to made up competition. They don't even know why they don't like each other half the time. Rap beefs have existed since the dawn of the genre's inception on both sides, right? Man to man, woman to woman. I will say with a lot of female rap beefs on the surface, like Kim and Foxy, Remy and Foxy, Sparky D and Roxanne Shante, they even said they didn't like each other and hardly knew why. And they're cool in real life now. But there has been a wide critique that the newer girls keep their fighting on the timeline and on Twitter instead of leaving it in the booth. Do you rap or do you tweet? Because I can't tell, get in the booth. I do think that some of this drama, there is some real like hurt there, and there is some real like character flaws for sure. But it's become a part of like the storyline. What's getting people to buy into female rap is the storyline. And hip hop has kind of been that. It's definitely become kind of overkill. Like for a point in time, everybody was just tussling on the timeline. I'm like, are you guys gonna drop music or no? Beefs between Kim versus Nicki Minaj, Cardi versus Nicki, Lotto versus Nicki, Remy versus Nicki, Meg versus Nicki, Cardi versus JT, Lotto versus Coi Leray, Lotto versus Ice Spice, JT versus Nicki, kinda. Cardi versus Bia, City Girls versus Nicki, Ice versus Nicki, JT versus Carisha, Cardi versus Super Freaky Crew, Cardi versus, like, so with women, an uber competitiveness on a deeper level has existed because women have been conditioned to compete. This is not just in rap, this is societally, right? There can only be one referencing their OG status, or the new girls can't do it like me, or these bitches are my sons, or I'm the baddest bitch out, whatever. Again, that is a part of the hip hop essence. You're supposed to pop your shit. But with female rap, it feels like it's a very much so a kiss the ring mentality. It's okay that there's new girls that are a little bit younger, maybe a little bit hotter and fresher than you. That's okay. Y'all don't need to hate each other for it. But then I can't fully fault, you know, the OGs or the legacy talent for feeling some type of way, because women are told as you age, you have less value. So when we look at a Nicki Minaj versus Lil Kim situation, I'm talking about I've given you your props, what do you want from me?
I respect you, I love you, I've said it in every interview, time and time again. And if that's not good enough with you, mama, then it's something deep-rooted in you. Every time you in the news, it's because you're getting at somebody. You're gonna go down in history now as a sore loser, as opposed to going down in history as the queen.
She wanted to be the only female out there. So when Baby and them said, we're not fucking with this chick because you can't stand next to her, she loved it because she didn't want to stand next to me.
It's funny to see that 15 years later, you have newer girls in the game essentially mimicking exactly what Nicki was saying to Kim. I've given you credit. What do you want from me?
Wait, and then you once said that I never showed you genuine love. Up until this recent interview that she did, I have never show me genuine love in an interview. And that's crazy because when you pull up all my videos, you see that I'm always showing you respect because you're somebody that I listened to ever since I was in high school.
And I give you props all the time in every other interview for opening the door for that to be a possibility now.
And so when we look at the competitiveness, we have to bring stance into the conversation. I think stance in female rap is what cripples it. You guys say you love female rap, but you just love that one person. You don't actually like the sport of it. You don't actually like the intricacies of it. You guys are like conflating it with your real life. And I think if you actually cared about the genre as a whole, you wouldn't create fake narratives. We have lost so many collaborations, which used to be a pretty big deal. Girls would just feature in each other's music videos. It was more common for that to happen. But you guys create fake narratives, fake beefs, fake screenshots, and consistently put down other women. I don't think competition is bad. I think that is a fabric of hip hop. But to the point where we can't be honest about the art and we can't give credit where it's due because we are too busy with the kiss the ring mentality, or we're too busy discrediting talent over the other, and we can't just find a balanced viewpoint, it sets the genre back. It sets female rap back. And to close out this video, the future. Moral of the story, women are unfairly judged. Let's be real. At the very least, can we keep the standards level on both sides? They're much more entertaining when it comes to the entire package than the guys. I genuinely think I stopped listening to a lot of male rappers in like 2020. But on the opposite end, I think we need to collectively do better in paying attention to and pushing women who don't fit the mold. I mean, I saw Doechii going viral for her performances and like creative vision. And I saw people on the timeline saying that
Doechii just doesn't have it.
And like just being negative for no freaking reason. And personal preference is fine. I get it. Like her style of rap might not be for everybody. But we let mediocre female rappers become famous every day. We complain all the time about certain rappers just rapping about this one thing. And then we have a girl come on the scene who's showing versatility, A, has been working at her craft for years. B, puts clear effort into her stories and visuals. But it's half the same crowd who gassed Ice Spice and was trying to convince us that she was it. So do you see the issue? So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Be sure to click the link down in my description below for 15% off of your first order at Zbiotic. Hit that subscribe button down below. We are on the road to 100K. Thank you so much to my new subscribers, my returning subscribers. I appreciate you endlessly. Stay tuned for my What Happened To series. We are going to start doing those pretty consistently on this channel. On that note, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.